Well, after several years of talking about this project, it's finally time to get the show on the road. Peace, everyone. Welcome to March 4th. My name is Christopher Stewart. I was known in the Peace Mission as Dr. Stewart, and more widely to friends as Copper Stewart. Copper like the metal. Copper, silver, gold. And my pronouns are he and they. I don't intend to do it in the future, but I have prepared a written text for this introduction because I want to stay focused and to get things right so that the intentions of this are very clear. If it sounds too much like I'm reading, it's because I am. In the future and with more practice, I will be more spontaneous and free form, and future formats will include many other things besides me in front of a camera. People connected to Father during the last decade will recognize me. I served as archivist of the Peace Mission from 2014 to 2020, and I was a full-time resident of Woodmont for the last 4 years of that tenure. I was the very last person invited by Mother Divine to live there as a follower, and I was the last new follower that she personally accepted or instructed. My history with Father and Mother goes back to the early 1990s when I first learned about Father Divine. I was a young adult immersed in Eastern religion, and so that Hindu, Indian, Sufi background is what helped me to recognize Father and to see in him a very impressive and relevant spiritual personality among those with the highest enlightenment, which he had applied in the unique cultural context of the early 20th century United States. I believe this recognition came from an immediate past life. Father taught reincarnation, and at some point I will share more about that belief and elaborate more about Father's unique concepts concerning rebirth. Father and Mother have played an accelerated role in my spirituality since about 2007, and Mother was my in-person spiritual mentor from April 2013 until March 4th, 2017, the day that she threw off the body. I was privileged to be holding her hand when that happened, for the half hour before the body ceased to breathe and for the half hour afterwards. And it was the most sacred and lovely, spiritually exalted day of my life. It was a great spiritual privilege to personally witness and to participate in the final completion of the embodied phase of the work of Father Divine. It was meant to happen, and it was never a cause for sadness. What Mother did that day put the seal on the revelation of the ADFD dispensation, and now it is time to live it out. Now, we who are called to a deepening life with them are truly marching forth into the new day, into a world in which we know God is present and actively renovating and actively improving everything for everyone here and now. From behind the scenes and from the ground up, God is present and adjusting matters. Father and Mother Divine are universalized. They are more present and accessible and more powerful now than ever before, and they are a universally living presence, accessible to everyone, to anyone who sincerely makes room to know them more and more. If the desire is there, it will unfold. If it is not interfered with. No matter how we live or what shortcomings we manifest, and so long as we really have the conviction, I know you are God, and authentically aspire to a higher and deeper understanding, then we are in a state of grace and working out our own soul salvation. And we know our beloved is ever with us, where we are, struggling in our struggles, and rejoicing in our triumphs. Father Divine is not to be compared with mere preachers or profiteering televangelists or destructive cult leaders, as so many want to read him and categorize him. Father Divine is a wisdom teacher in whom many have and continue to see and experience the universal God. Father is the peer of his contemporaries like Sri Ramakrishna, Baha'u'llah, Shirdi Sainath, Avatar Meher Baba, or Sri Aurobindo. I will eventually draw necessary parallels with these figures because I believe that with Father they are part of one great work, authentically inspired and authentically embodying God. And because I believe that such comparison brings out Father's universality and his depth in ways that have been neglected by later followers and by outside commentators who miscategorize him. We are all reaching toward the same God, and the same God is reaching back. There are many people who falsely believe that all of Father's children come from one racial, national, religious, or political background, or that they are grouped under one organization. And that is not true now, and it has never been true. Father said that he would draw some from every group and category, and that eventually organizations inspired by him would proliferate as denominations and organizations had proliferated under the Christian dispensation. We are one in spirit, but different in form, mode, level of understanding, and expression. Father claimed to be the universal God personified, not merely the God of the Bible or of one religion, but the spirit behind all authentic religion. He said that the Reverend Albert Shabb was chosen to perform the divine marriage ceremony because he was somewhat Hindu. That's a pretty good explanation of what I am as well, though I am blessed to have a broad and spirit-led religious background. In future videos, I will explain more and more clearly about all of that by way of spiritual autobiography and how it relates to Father Divine and to my understanding and experience of Father Divine. I am a universalist. I believe that the highest state of the Godhead is the infinite and impersonal, and I believe that the infinite and impersonal Godhead is revealed, personified, in God-realized human beings and in divine incarnations that appear in each and every age and to diverse peoples and populations, crafting their presentation of the core universal truth in forms that are appropriate to time and place. Father Divine specifically named Melchizedek, Buddha, Jesus, Muhammad, and himself as incarnations of God, not necessarily excluding others like Krishna, but those he named specifically. To me, Father and Mother together are one theophany, or revelation, or manifestation of God Almighty, coming in an endless stream of such manifestations, not the first, not the last, and they have come expressing in 20th and 21st century forms, dress, language, and symbols of the United States, in order to divert us from destruction toward higher and higher and higher understandings. And I personally believe that they also come as the final fulfillment of the biblical dispensation, part of the new worldwide beginning of a new dispensation and a new global human understanding that will emerge over many generations. There are other ways in which I may not be the sort of person that the viewer expects to be interested in or presenting on Father Divine. I'll let those ways emerge over time as they are contextually appropriate, as they are relevant. What I represent is the present reality that many, many, many more people who consider Father Divine to be God or a great spiritual authority are people who are living in the world, and often in families, and in families of diverse types, not within the Peace Mission churches. This is also how it was in the beginning of Father's public work. Though still a very important living remnant and witness, the Peace Mission churches seem to have been for a time and a season. They are not renewing themselves, and yet the Spirit of the living Father Divine is planted in thousands and thousands of beating hearts around the world, and it is blossoming in myriad and often surprising, unique ways. This element of surprise and uniqueness has very often been Father's divine signature. Mother wanted me to use contemporary media to express my insights about the divine tradition. I did that before, during, and now after residing at Woodmont. I promised her that I would do that, and this channel will be my sincere continuing effort to fulfill that promise. I very much enjoy to speak and to share what I know about Father, Mother Divine. I hope that this channel can be a source of illumination and encouragement and networking among us, and I hope that over time I will be able to interview or otherwise share the voices of many people in similar walks of life and understandings related to Father Divine. I don't claim any special status, spiritually or in any other way, and I believe that part of the new day is the negation of all authoritarianism and the old world spiritual hierarchies. We are all equal before God, even the enlightened ones amongst us, and we teach and learn from one another. I do not set myself up as a spiritual teacher, a guru, coach, or mentor. Like George Fox and the original Quakers, I like friend. I would like this work to produce a small online community of authentic, unpretentious spiritual friends who may differ but who also recognize a family resemblance. For truly every being, every living being, every conscious being is our divine sibling, and like each one of us is truly God, Father Divine, in disguise. Father's way is by direct approach, and there's no one standing between. You, as much as I or anyone else, have free access to him. Father has come into this world not only to help us heal the racial and economic breaches between different sisters and brothers, but also to help us heal the equally false breaches between religions. We are not a race, not a nationality, not a class, and not a creed or any specific religion. We are the kind of people that God made before any of that. And we have a right to the tree of life, a right to all knowledge, all truth. We seek to comprehend with all saints as we grow in the true understanding that the universal God is speaking and working through many, many streams and agents, and has never ceased to do so. This channel is not directly affiliated with any church or religious organization. It is a strictly personal effort, and it should be understood as nothing more than one person's informed opinion. I want March 4th to do many things, and I hope that we can do them well. Here are some of the things that I want this channel to accomplish. We will study and comment on Father's life, words, and work, explaining some key concepts that are often misunderstood or overlooked. We'll define some of Father's unique terminology and vocabulary, elaborate his ideas, pointing out parallels and making analogies to biblical and other faith traditions. We'll look about his unique perspective on the biblical tradition and specific verses. And we'll talk about how the ideas were carried out in practice and how we might apply them today, particularly if we are not blessed to live within a community of shared values. We will offer suggestions for individual and small group spiritual practice for those who are drawn to Father, including some important contemplative and devotional practices that are helpful for making your contact or renewing it. I plan, for example, to talk about the importance of creating a sacred space or altar in your home where you can be alone with God and contemplate sacred words and images. The power of relics, according to Father Divine himself. Sacred ways of engaging with Father's words and images. And suggestions for the use of Father's name in mantra meditation, or how to sacralize food at home, how to use Father's words in affirmation, and so forth. Some of this will just be talking about information, and some will be guided meditations or performance pieces, poems, and so forth. We will talk about our lived spiritual experience with Father and Mother and how it has changed and how it has deepened over time, including ecstatic, mystical, and supernatural experiences, which interest many people and which seem to be abundant in the orbit of Father Divine in the past and in the present, and I have every reason to believe in the future. Because of my personal scholarly inclination and background, and because of my unique past position at Woodmont, I do have a lot of knowledge about Father Divine and his work, and I certainly had more access and know more missing historical details than any other credentialed academic scholar who has ever written or commented about Father Divine. But I also have a spiritually experiential starting viewpoint and a basic respect for Father spiritually that those scholars do not have. So I hope to fill in historical gaps and to respond to problems that are raised by those academic, scholarly, journalistic, and podcaster people when they have been misinformed or biased. We will not always toe the line of traditional followers, but we will endeavor in all things to accord Father and Mother Divine the respect that is truly due them. Even within the Peace Mission, there have always been differences of understanding. And because Father Divine was a very positive, creative, brilliant, social justice warrior in very practical terms, we will also occasionally comment on current ideas and events and express thoughts about how and why they are related to the work and spirit of Father Divine. Father was wholeheartedly anti-fascist and wrote many letters decrying the spirit of Hitlerism, and he warned us that if we did not reform our hearts and defeat bigotry with justice, it would arise again in our midst. And indeed it has, right here in the United States in 2023. Father's thoughts about American democracy are very important, and they need to be heard, and they need to be heard now. And I will share some material that has been out of print from those letters, out of print for more than 50 years, but which is tailor-made to the present crises that face us. I thank Father and Mother for this technology and for all the wonderful things they have done and continue to do for me, and I hope that a community of equal people, freely and respectfully sharing, can grow out of this experiment. In the meantime, let us march forth into the beautiful new day that God has prepared for each and every one of us. I thank you, and I thank Father and Mother Divine.